Welcome to Caffeinated Flicks, where we drink coffee and celebrate diverse directors one movie at a time.
I am Celeste.
And I'm Kenzie. How has your week been, Celeste?
Nothing new, nothing exciting. Oh, today I did get headshots done.
No way!
Yes, that's why I'm wearing makeup. It's that no makeup look.
The natural, unnatural look.
The natural, heavy makeup, no looking makeup.
The El Maquillage promo code Caffeinated Flicks here.
I got those done today. That was exciting. My photographer was so sweet. And yeah, it was just such a good time, and I love how they turned out.
Oh, yay! That's so awesome.
So, other than that, nothing much exciting. How have you been? What's new?
Well, I have had my horrific migraines for the last week. So yeah, as you know, and pretty much anybody around me knows, like I just have my chronic migraines. And so they've flared up for the last week or so. And so having a lot of fun with that. I love that your dogs chill out to Shakira.
Yeah, thank goodness. They have good faith.
Oh, I love that so much. But yeah, so had my migraines, but I also got another new tattoo. So that's fun. I got a little ghosty, and then I got the word enough to remind myself that I'm enough and I'm doing enough and everything's enough. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
But we shall see. So other than that, yeah. So I made myself cold brew, and so I had bought the Dunkin' Donuts blueberry muffin ground coffee like a couple of weeks ago or something like that. And I had also bought, this is going to sound really like sexual innuendo type, but I have almond milk nut bags. So,
okay.
Yeah, nut milk bag. I don't know why. It just sounds so weird to me.
Wait, it's a nut bag that's specifically for almond milk?
Well, not specifically for almond milk.
Oh, it's just a nut bag.
Misspoke.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It's a nut milk bag. Yeah, so like you make nut milks with it. And so I took the granules and I put it in there, and then I steeped it in water for I think 24 hours. And so I made my own cold brew. So yeah, it worked out real nice. Like it also worked out really well when we were filtering our beer too. So it's versatile. It's
good for you for repurposing those grounds.
Right, exactly. And what are you drinking?
I am drinking my dirty chai, of course, from Union Coffee today because it's a few miles away from me, but I was in that area anyways. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to treat myself.
Ooh, is that where you're getting your headshots done?
Yeah. So it was like a neighborhood around there. She had like her own little home studio going on. So I figured I'd get my coffee from there. When you put down that you were drinking a blueberry muffin ground coffee, I thought you just mentioned you were eating a blueberry muffin along with your coffee. And I had a hot dog just before that. I'm like, should I say I'm eating a hot dog? But I didn't realize it was blueberry flavored. Or blueberry.
Yeah, the coffee is flavored blueberry muffin. And it's delicious. It's best cold. It's very tasty. I suggest looking it up. Or if you want to come over, I still have some. So,
Ooh, okay, yeah. It sounds interesting. Alrighty, so today we're going to be recapping New Zealand director Niki Caro's Whale Rider. She's also known for directing The Zookeeper's Wife and the live-action Mulan movie.
Can I just say, I love The Zookeeper's Wife. I love it so much.
I love that because I've never seen it. I love Jessica Chastain. She's so talented, and I feel like she picks such amazing projects. Why are you making that face?
I don't think Jessica Chastain is in Zookeeper's Wife.
Jessica Chastain is the main character.
Maybe I'm thinking... No, I'm thinking We Bought a Zoo. My bad.
Oh, completely different. And I'm pretty sure the Zookeeper wife takes place during like World War II.
There we go. Okay, never mind. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen either of those.
No. Okay. Well, I've never seen it. And again, I love Jessica Chastain. She's such a versatile actor. She's so talented, picks really good projects. But I could not watch it because in the trailer, I feel like there were animals that were drowning. And so I'm like, I can't. I'm not going to put myself through that. So I've never seen it, but I did see Mulan, and it was really cute. Visually, it was beautiful. The costume and makeup was so beautiful. But yeah, you haven't seen it, have you?
Nope. One day.
One day. One day, maybe I'll get around to The Zookeeper's Wife. And then let's see, for cast here, we've got Keisha Castle Hughes, who plays the lead Pakia. Let me make sure I pronounced that right. And then we have Coro, who's played by Rawidi. Let's see, Vicky Houghton, who plays Nanny Flowers. And then Cliff Curtis, who plays Porurungai. He's pretty well known. I feel like he's one of those actors where you just see him everywhere. I don't know if you recognize him, Kenzie.
His face is very familiar to me.
Right?
But I can't place it, you know?
I couldn't either. Even when I was looking at his projects. I couldn't. Even when I was looking at what he was in, I'm like, I can't place him, but I know he's been in a lot. I know you haven't seen Game of Thrones, but I was so excited when I saw that Keisha was in it. She played a very small role, and she played the very popular and famous Pedro Pascal's daughter in that. He plays like a prince in that show, and she plays his daughter, and I'm so excited to see her in it because I hadn't seen her in anything in a while. But if you watched that, that's something you would definitely recognize her in.
Technically, I did watch the first season of Game of Thrones.
Oh. I don't think she went to like season 3 or 4 or something like that.
That makes sense. Yeah. I found out very quickly, it's not a show you really want to watch with your mom.
Right.
Never mind that. I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah. I'm sure there were scenes that were like, cringe, don't want to watch, but I still watched it.
You're just going to turn a blind eye. You're like, I'm not looking at you
Don't
while
make
we
eye
watch
contact together, yeah.
I'm just going to pay attention this way. I'm going to go use the bathroom real quick.
Just move on. Like it never happened. Oh, goodness. Alrighty, do you want to go ahead and get into the ratings?
Let us do it. All right, so the 10 out of 10. This is, quite simply, one of the best movies I've seen. It is a fantastic example of what Indigenous filmmaking is capable of. Maori culture seems to have an innate knack for expressing themselves in this way, while Once Were Warriors offers a significantly different view into the lives of Indigenous New Zealanders. The emotional roller coaster ride is nevertheless the same. One can't help but feel as though they know the characters in this movie, and thus they are intimately tied into what happens to them throughout. Well done.
Alrighty, and then the 1 out of 10 rating is, I don't get how this movie deserves the critical acclaim it got. Apparently, I have missed something. Even the reviews that criticize this film don't mention some of the flaws this thing had. I don't get how no one mentioned the horrible filming that looked as if it had been done by a first grader. I really wanted to like this. I really did, but even I didn't manage. There weren't even any whales in the movie. But I didn't even finish this, so I might have missed it. I don't want to waste space on this. Long story short, this thing was so bad, it was funny.
All right. This person really didn't watch this at all. Because there are at least shots of whales, I think, 20 minutes in.
There were a few shots. Exactly. But also, I think he missed the point.
Exactly. Goodness.
Exactly.
Goodness gracious. But at least, they had the wherewithal to put at the top, apparently I missed something, so they knew that going into this review.
Like, you basically give a disclaimer that he's probably wrong.
Exactly. So at least they know up off the top.
Exactly.
So before we get into the recap, I just want to let all of our listeners know at the top, y'all, this movie is sad.
Yes, it does need a disclaimer. I feel so bad for not mentioning that when I told you about it. I was so excited about it that, you know what? I guess I completely forgot that it was really a sad, emotionally heavy movie.
And especially if you've ever struggled with like gender identity or acceptance for your gender role or anything of that nature, or bending gender roles, like this is an intense movie if you've ever struggled with anything like that. But all in all, this is a really sad movie. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Off the bat, it starts off with death, a stillborn. So definitely a disclaimer on that. If anyone decides to watch it, it's beautiful, but
It
it's
is.
like the 10 out of 10 rating said, it was an emotional roller coaster for sure.
Yeah.
All right. If you have nothing else to add, I'll go ahead and get into the movie recap notes. All right. Again, so like I said, opening to a woman in a hospital in labor and a voiceover of a little girl talking about the history of their ancestor, Paikia. She says they were waiting for the firstborn of the new generation, the descendant of the whale rider. The woman was delivering twins, a boy and a girl, but unfortunately died during labor, and so did the boy.
Did you ever see the movie Jersey Girl?
No.
Okay. So this movie has J-Lo in it, and
I know of it. Is that the one with the infamous line, gobble, gobble, or something like that? Is it that one?
that I do not know. It's got
Ben Affleck? Is it that one?
It does have Ben Affleck. It has Liv Tyler, and it's got J-Lo.
Okay. Maybe I'm talking about a different movie. Who knows? Continue.
I have no idea. Anyway, so that movie begins in a very similar sequence in that Jennifer Lopez goes to the hospital. She's giving birth to a little girl. Ben Affleck is the dad. How ironic for now that they're together. But she ends up dying in labor. But the little girl actually lives.
Oh,
That's
gosh.
all.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how the two are similar in that way. So little girl in the voiceover says everyone was waiting for the firstborn boy to lead us, but he died and I didn't. We see a group of people mourning the loss of the woman when an older gentleman, who is Coro, played by Ramiri, and an older woman, Nani, who is played by Vicky. They enter the room when the man immediately asks the husband, now father, where's the boy? One guy, who is played by Cliff, just exits the room and breaks down in his father's arms. To which Coro, his father, responds by saying, come home and start again. Because appropriate response for anyone who's just lost a wife and a child. I don't know if it's an appropriate response at any point, but especially not when it literally just happened.
Absolutely.
That was just super effed up. Anyways, this poor distraught man tells him all he cares about is a boy and that he already has a child and her name is Paikia. Coro says no, not that name, in which Bururungai storms off. We see Nani picking up the baby when Coro tells her to take her away. Coro begins by chanting over the deceased baby boy. Nani tells him he needs to acknowledge his granddaughter and that Bururungai will return when he's ready. We hear a voiceover of Paikia saying Coro wished she had never been born.
Which, as we will find out throughout the movie, is essentially the thesis of this film.
Yeah. But that he had changed his mind, and we flash forward to Paikia, now about 11, riding a bike in a small coastal village with Coro.
I'm still not convinced that he changed his mind. And what I don't understand is that she lives with her grandparents, even though her dad was like, I have a child, and then just leaves. I'm very confused by that.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a random thought. I was like,
no, you're good. I had that thought a lot throughout this entire film.
I'm like, what? Huh? Why?
Anyways, We see Nanny in the dining room with friends playing cards and smoking. Pakia walks in and tells them Maori women need to stop smoking in order to protect their childbearing properties. I thought that was funny because these women are not old, but I feel like they may be past their childbearing years.
It's probably safe to say that they're in menopause. So,
Yeah. So I don't think I have to worry about that.
But I think the best part is the fact that they're trying to hide the fact that they were smoking.
Oh, yeah. So, like, smoking doesn't leave, like, a completely repulsive smell behind. And then Pakia then asks if they're going to the concert and lets them know that her dad will be coming. One of the friends asks, how long is he staying this time? 5 minutes? The friend also says, and you'd have to be smoking out of a pretty funny place to ruin your childbearing properties.
That was really funny.
Later that night, Pakia is performing a Maori chant at a school concert when we see Pororungai come in. This is like a really small class, by the way. I literally counted, and it was 7 students, I believe, that were performing.
Yeah. To be fair, if this is like an indigenous school, it would probably be a smaller class size.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But the other thing that I noticed is that she was the only girl in that performance also.
Yes. I noticed that too. So Pororungai, he greets everyone, says hello, and then in private, Goro tells him that he's been gone a while and that they've been waiting for him. He mentions that he's been to France and Germany and that he has a gallery that's interested and had a few shows. So apparently he's an artist and has been traveling Europe, and that was that. Next morning, we're shown a wooden boat called a waka and hear a voiceover of Pakia saying it was her father's waka, but that after she was born, he didn't want to carve it anymore. She says he went away. Everybody did. We then see Koro picking up Pai from school. That's what they call her, sorry. Pai, short for Pakia. From school on his bike, and he says if her teacher has got a husband yet. Pai says, don't think so. He then asks if she still has those things on her teeth.
At first, I had absolutely no idea what he was talking about. I was like, what? What is he talking about?
Of course, referring to her adult braces. Later, we see Goro trying to repair a motor on a boat when Pai approaches to tell him about a speech she has to do about where they came from. He proceeds to tell her about their ancestors, including the whale Pakia. He attempts to repair the motor with a rope, but it ends up ripping and he walks away to get another. Pai ties the rope back together and ends up fixing it herself. All excited, she calls him over to tell him that it's not working, but he tells her he never wants her to do that again. It's dangerous, and walks away. Basically just shuts her down.
That made me so sad.
I know. It's evening, and Pororungai is showing the family his artwork via this homemade projector setup going on. And, well, what are we looking at? Like, I'm pretty sure there was like a peel of some sort. I feel like.
I was so confused at first. Like, I didn't get that they were actually like ceramic pieces until the third photo.
Wait, you can tell that they're ceramic pieces?
Yeah, they're like ceramic bowls.
I swear one of them looked like a face-down pan. That's what I thought. And that was my favorite part. Because I thought, because the Pai goes, oh, that's a good one. And it literally looks like a frying pan that's just face down.
It could be. It very well could be.
Right.
As an artist, art is in the eye of the beholder.
Art is everywhere. Yeah, sometimes it's only in the eye of that particular beholder.
When I look at some of the modern art, I'm like, that's 3 lines on a canvas.
I know. Bill and I went to a modern art museum in, I think it was San Diego, and because it was free. So yeah. Thank God it was free, because we got in there and we're like, what the heck are we looking? I laughed and I'm like, I'm so happy I didn't pay for that. You're right. Some of it, like, I think there was just like a trash bag hanging.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yep. Some of it I do not get. But whatever, man. If somebody wants to pay millions of dollars, that's your prerogative. Go
Yep.
ahead and burn that money.
There you go. Koro then walks in with Pai's teacher and tells him that she wants to see his artwork and to start from the beginning. So the teacher with the stuff in her mouth or stuff in her teeth. It's super awkward because everybody knows this is clearly a setup. And when he goes to start the slides from the beginning, he goes back too far and reveals a photo of a mystery woman.
Not only a mystery woman, she's like hella blonde.
Yes.
Hella blonde.
Very European looking. And things just get even more awkward when his brother Rawiri asks who that is. He tells them that her name is Anna and that they've been seeing each other. He then decides this will be the best moment to inform them that they're expecting a child.
I wonder if this was all a play, so that way his family wouldn't try and say, well, you need to break up with her so that way you can date Pie's teacher or something like that. You know, like if I say that we're expecting, then you can't tell me that I can't be with her.
Oh, yeah. Who knows?
All we know is it was awkward as hell.
Yeah, it was. Exactly. That's when Rawiri, his brother, says, congrats, bro. You always get the good looking ones. Of course, with his girlfriend Shiloh sitting right next to him. Classy guy.
I know she gives him this like look, this iconic girlfriend look. Like, what the fuck did you just say?
Yes. As she should, I feel like as any woman would do. The guy tells them she's from Germany and that he'll probably bring the baby back after it gets big. He's just very wishy-washy about it because his mom's like, are you bringing her? And he kind of just plays it off. Goro then tells Rawiri to take Pai's teacher back to town. Nani and Pai go into the next room, and Goro and Pururungai get into an argument about him failing to fulfill his obligations for their people. It ends with Goro telling him to take Pai with him when he leaves, that she's no use to him, which Pai overhears and runs off.
Not that she's absolutely no use to him, but because she's no use to him because she's not a boy.
Because she's a girl, exactly.
This poor girl, like, not only does she hear that, but she also has heard that her father is having a child with a woman in Germany that she is not living with. And, like, he has no interest or desire, as it seems, to bring her back with him.
Right? The emotional trauma this poor little girl has to endure.
I know.
So her father follows to make sure she's okay, which I can't. But that's when he tells her maybe they should think about her going to live with him for a while. I'm sorry. What the F? Like, I hate how she didn't get an apology for, I'm sorry I started a new family on the other side of the world. Like, I can't.
Well, and not only that, so to your credit, like, they're in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Germany is not a hop, skip, and a jump away. You know, it is.
I don't know where I feel like.
It's quite the trek.
10-hour flight from anywhere.
Perfect. You can't just take the bullet train, you know?
And like it was implied earlier, he never comes to see her.
Yeah.
And like you said, he shows no interest in, you know, her coming to live with him. Like, I just hate that scene. It annoys me. He's like, maybe we should think about you living with me just for a little while, though. Just for a while.
This whole movie is one of the saddest movies I've ever seen. And nobody dies is the thing. Like, nobody dies.
Oh,
and it's the saddest movie I've ever seen.
Like, not even the saddest part of the movie.
I know. It gets worse from here, folks.
So we then see Kuro is giving Pai one last bike ride as her father and her prepare to leave. Kuro goes inside and watches them drive off. Nani comes in and says, "That's right, you look." He turns around and tells her, "I'm going to need all of the firstborn boys. It's time they learned." She says, "What?" He goes, "When she was born, that's when things went wrong for us."
Rude.
I know, right? Oh, man, like, ugh. As they're driving away, Pai hears a whale call and tells her dad to stop the car. When her father asks her what it is, she says, "Can we go home now?" Pai shows up at the school where Koro is holding a small meeting to let him know that she's back. Him, completely unbothered, just says, "Not now, Pai." She continues to say, "But I'm back." He ignores her and continues on with his meeting.
So he seemed a little choked up, at least, that she was leaving. And then now that she's back, literally like 5 minutes after she's left, and she's decided, never mind, I don't want to do this because I'm 11.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically holding a grudge against her for the entire rest of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I can't with this.
It's after school and Pai approaches another kid named Hemi, played by Mana. She tells him Koro is going to be pissed off if he sees him smoking. He tells her that he's not coming because he's getting the school ready for the boys, which of course Pai had no idea about, so she was caught off guard.
This is another point in which Taka or Koro is extremely rude. He's like, "I'm going to go ahead and start this school for boys, and I'm not going to come pick you up."
Right. We then see a group of parents and children outside waiting on benches. Koro goes inside and asks Nani when she'll be ready. She says when everyone is here. He tells her everyone is already here. She proceeds to ask him if he told her, meaning Pai, that he wasn't going to go pick her up. That he's been doing it for years and somehow she's just supposed to guess. That's when we see Pai walk in and Nani says, "Good, let's go." Nani tells Pai to do the welcome and they begin singing in Maori.
To each other. It's like a call and response.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, Taka, Koro, was not happy about. He goes, "What are you doing?" Everyone goes to sit, and when Pai goes to sit in the front row, but Koro tells her to go sit in the back. Pai refuses, and that's when Koro tells her to just leave. Koro addresses the boys and tells them that this is a sacred school for learning and that they will be taught the old ways of the qualities of a chief. The boys' schooling begins, and every day we see Pai outside or on the side of the school, secretly learning alongside. Hemi catches Pai watching on the side of the school and decides to teach her how to hold the taiaha, which is an ancient tool for fighting that they use, and how to stand properly. Koro catches the two of them, and he tells Hemi to go back to the school and that he'll deal with Pai later.
So can I tell you a really random thing?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
So I spent several years doing martial arts. And so...
Why is this the first I'm hearing of this? What?
I don't know.
This is random. What? When did this start? And is it still happening?
No, I think I stopped doing martial arts when I was 19.
Oh.
But I started when I was 12. And we did Taekwondo, and then we went to karate. But in Taekwondo, you use a bow staff for quite a few. And so when we were watching them do the taiaha, it was very reminiscent of when I would do the different forms with the bow staff and when we would do the different fighting styles and techniques against each other with the bow staff.
Bow staff didn't look similar to the taiaha? Oh,
yeah.
That's so cool. That's awesome, Kenzie. We then see Koro, Nani, and Pai at the table eating. It looks like it might be evening. And Pai tells Koro that she's sorry. He says nothing when Nani asks if he's gone deaf because someone just apologized to him. He throws a dish on the floor and shouts, "You don't mess with sacred things." Nani goes to clean up the mess when he tells her to let the girl do it. Nemi tells him, "You may be the boss out there, but I'm the boss in this kitchen." Later that night, we see Pai carving her father's old waka. She then hears more whale calls in the distance. And he comes out to sit with her and lets her know that before her uncle got fat and ugly, he used to be a hot shot with the Taya.
That part cracked me up so much. I was like, who says that about their son?
Apparently they do. Pai then asks what happened. She says, "I don't know. He was the second son." Which that in itself also is really sad.
Right.
We then see Pai entering a house asking if her uncle is there. And he and his girlfriend Shiloh are sunbathing out back, it looks like.
So I don't know if you caught this, but I'm pretty sure they were smoking weed.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Yeah. They were smoking something the whole time. Everybody, children, adults, old people.
No, okay. All I know is that, like, one, I saw a bag with like green stuff in it, and
Okay.
they were giggling. But then as soon as they like saw Pi was there, they like had a moment of panic and like were hiding, and they were like, "What are you doing here?"
Oh, no, I didn't catch the weight.
That was so funny.
Oh, goodness. She brings him his old Taya hat trophy and asks if he can teach her. He asks her if Goro knows about this. She tells him no, and he says, "Let's get it on then." And that's when we cue the cringy electronica music. Did you catch that earlier too? I forgot to mention it. When they're driving away, that music that they play.
No, I don't think it actually stuck with me.
It was very cringy. I'm sure it was supposed to, like, oh my gosh, what is the word I'm thinking? Symbolize like a new, like contemporary beginning, leaving with her father. But yeah, it was, again, like I said, cringy. Anyways, Rawiri begins teaching her with a broomstick because that's what they got. And on a morning jog, Rawiri passes his dad, Goro, and he just looks completely baffled. Because I guess this encouraged him to start working out, and everybody shook it.
That's kind of what I figured as well. But I will say, running on a beach, because he's running on a beach, is not an easy task.
No. When I was younger and more fit, like, they think just walking alone on a beach is a good exercise.
True.
Let alone running. It's rough. So next we see Pai riding her bike to school. When she ends up passing the moving school bus, how slow is that bus driving? Or how fast is that girl riding?
It could be a combination of the two. They're not mutually exclusive. I don't know.
So Goro is back at the school teaching the boys of their ancestral ways. Hemi brings his dad to introduce to Goro right before they perform Maori chants. Before the performances are even done, his father leaves with the group of guys. Him himself looks like bad news bears. His dad tells him he'll see him later. Hemi asks tonight, and his dad just says next couple of days, maybe. So I'm seeing a trend of severely flawed fathers in this movie. Like, these fathers have some issues. They got some shiz to figure out, because I'm seeing it everywhere now. Pai then sees Hemi on the side of the school crying. Hemi tells her to get lost, picks up his taiaha, and begins fighting her with it. Pai has her own stick, so she fights back. Koro inside hears the two of them and comes out to find Pai essentially defeating him because she was able to, like, I don't know. He lost his stick, so he picks up his stick and asks her, what has she done? Hemi tells him it wasn't her fault, but Koro just tells him to go and wash his face. And he just looks completely disgusted with him at the fact that he's crying. Because, of course, boys, can't show any feelings or emotions.
See, and I thought it was more so the fact that he caught Pai doing the skills with the taiaha that she wasn't supposed to be.
I feel like it was both.
Okay.
Like, that's what I got from it. Of course he was pissed that she was doing that. But also, I feel like there was a split moment where he was really judging Hemi for crying.
Right. That like toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
I will say, I do commend Hemi. Like the entire time throughout the movie, while he does kind of give her a little bit of shit,
Yeah.
like he does say, you can learn this. I don't see a problem with it. And he does try and stand up for her and he does try and cover for her,
Mm-hmm.
So I commend him for that.
Yes, I agree. He asks Pai if she knows what she's done, and she says no. He says that she's broken the tapu of his school. I completely forgot to look up what that means. Did you catch that by any chance?
Nope.
Tapu.
Elevator music.
Yeah.
Third person, singular, possessive of tap. Nope, that's probably not it.
I also tried looking up what paka means. I could not find, like, what I did find.
I think it means grandpa.
That's what I thought. I thought it meant grandfather. But from what I found, it said it meant like a chestnut brown color. And I was really confused. So I'm like, I'm not going to put that in there.
That's so funny.
So that's why I'm just referring to him as Coro now.
It means the strongest life force in Maori life.
Oh, okay. There you go. She
So
broke the strongest life force. So she says she's sorry, but he tells her she's not. He asks her if she wants him to fail. She says no. He then asks if she wants the boys to fail. And at this point, all of the boys have gathered around and are watching. He then starts shouting at her, forcing her to apologize. Then, while sitting in a bath, Pai asks Nanny, what if he fails? She tells her that's nothing's going to happen and that it would be his own fault if he did. Pai tells her that it's not his fault that she's a girl. We then see Coro and the group of boys getting in a fishing boat at the beach. When Hemi goes to get on, Coro tells him, not him. So, I don't know how big this village is, but I'm thinking he couldn't let him know in advance to not make the trip out there.
I think that was the point, was to humiliate and shame him.
I thought that too.
In front of the other boys.
Yeah.
To say your actions were a dishonor or something of that nature.
Yeah. Coro tells the boys that they've all done well, but there can only be one, and that this is the final test. He removes I don't think that's the proper word for it. Like it's a necklace that has a whale's tooth and throws it out into the water. He tells them that one of them will bring it back to him. All the boys jump in, minus 2 boys. Again, I feel like it would have been helpful to give a little heads up as to what they were doing, because one of the boys couldn't swim. The other one was sick.
I loved their answers. They're just like, well, he can't swim, and I got a cold.
Yeah, it's what it is. I'm going in there. The final 2 boys resurfaced, and Coro asks them to give it to them. One of the boys says he almost had it, so this whale tooth is now lost.
So what I don't get is 5 boys just dove down to grab this whale's tooth. Are they not allowed to go back down? Grab a breath?
Yeah, right? I don't know. Yeah, I found that confusing too, and I did ask that. I'm like,
so
why
confusing.
Just jump back in? Who knows? Anyways. It got very dramatic after this too.
So dramatic.
Coro walks into the house and just goes straight to bed. Pai comes home and sees Coro lying in bed. She goes to her room and sees Nanny packing her suitcase. She hugs her and tells her that it won't be for long. Pai is taken to her uncle's house where Shiloh, his girlfriend, is showing her new room.
Once again, the way that this family treats this little girl, they're just like, no, you can't stay here anymore.
So sad. Yeah. So basically, yeah, Coro looks at this as a failure, but it's her fault. So she's getting kicked out of the house now.
I can't even.
Right.
I'm both sad and mad at the same time at this movie. Why did you make me watch this? I'm just kidding. No, it's good to watch.
I don't recall it bad. I was young, so maybe I just didn't understand a lot too.
Yeah, nostalgia will do that to you.
Yeah, it happens a lot when you watch a movie that you used to love, and then now as a grown up, you see everything that's effed up with it or all the flaws, and you're like, holy crap, this is seriously messed up.
Yep. And that's why I love one of my favorite podcasts, That Aged Well, hosted by Paul and Erica. They recap movies from before the 2000s and they let you know how fucked up they are.
Yep. Love it. At night, we see Goro crying a chant and we hear a voiceover of Pai saying he was calling to the ancient ones, asking them for help, but that they weren't listening, so she tried. Pai is chanting and we hear a voiceover of her saying, "They heard me." We then see the whales, sir, that said that there were no whales in the movie. We then see whales to appear migrating. Sweetie, Shiloh, and two of their friends, they're stoner friends apparently.
Those two were stoner friends. I don't know if you ever saw the look on their faces. They were definitely stoner friends. When Rawiri was teaching her how to use that the I'm so bad at this thing. They were just like, whoa.
Right? They had the same expression. They just like randomly appear everywhere. And they had the same expression throughout the entire film. Funny, serious, yeah.
Yep.
So they're out on a fishing boat and Pai asks if that is where Goro lost the whale's tooth that he had. Rawiri points out to where it was, that he lost it, and Pai says she'll get it and just jumps in the water. Shiloh says that she's been gone a while. I think like maybe a few minutes passed. Rawiri says she's good, then literally seconds later jumps in. This man cannot swim to save his life. Maybe he can swim, but he can't go down. He just keeps popping up. If she did need saving, it wasn't going to be by his doing. He's not the one.
He's not the one.
Pai then comes up from the other side and throws in, was it a crawfish that she threw in? Did you see that? Or like some sort of lobster looking thing? I don't know what it was. It throws in something crabby.
Some kind of crustacean.
Yes.
We'll just say a crustacean. That is the collective term for all crawfish, lobsters, crabs, etc.
Crustacean.
Crustacean. Yeah. I know many things about many ocean creatures. And that is one of them. Crustacean.
I honestly thought you were making that up. I'm like, okay, we'll go with it.
Oh, no, that is a real thing.
Serious? Oh my God.
Yeah. That's staying in. That's staying in.
Yeah. Oh God. And then, so along with the crustacean, she throws in Goro's whale tooth. Rawiri goes to his parents and lets Nanny know that Pai retrieved his whale tooth. Nanny says Goro is not ready to know about this yet.
Goro's not ready to know about anything yet. He needs to get over him damn self.
He ain't ready for nothing. So he's just in like a deep depression now at this point. Pai goes over to give Goro an invitation for her school concert and to let him know that he is her guest of honor. Everyone is gathering at the school for the concert, and Pai tells Nanny to save a seat for Goro. She tells her that he might be held up. She says she knows that he's coming. Poor girl. Goro goes to put on the suit that was laid out for him. The concert begins with all of the children dancing to like this contemporary song. So throughout the film, they're usually doing traditional Maori chants, and then it opens with, did you recognize that song? It sounded like, I don't even know what, but anyways.
I know a lot of music. I didn't know any of this music.
Didn't know that. Nope. So Goro is leaving the house to head to the concert when he hears whale calls. And it draws him to the beach and he walks over. At this point in the concert, they are singing in Maori and Pai sees that her grandfather is still not there. The teacher comes on stage to announce that one of her students had won the East Coast area's school speech contest. She then presents the award to Pai. Pai then states her speech is dedicated to her grandfather, Coro. Coro is on the beach, and we see him approaching a whale that was washed up on shore. He looks up and sees that there are more of them along the shore and asks, who is to blame?
So, not gonna lie, have you seen The Craft?
Have I seen The Craft?
Yeah.
Is that a movie?
Yes.
No, I haven't.
There's a scene in The Craft. It is an iconic movie about witches, and you should watch it. We need to remedy this for Celeste.
Okay.
But anyway, there's a scene that looks similar to this, but it's with a whole bunch of different sharks. However, the sharks are actually dead. They haven't actually just beached themselves. So, very different.
This is a witch movie and there's sharks?
Yes.
Already. Interesting.
It's one of my favorites. You can't go wrong with it.
So, Pai gives her speech and performs a Maori chant while barely being able to get through it because she's literally sobbing at this point.
I think this is the saddest point in the movie. Like, I couldn't believe they just let her continue to give her speech while she just bawled her eyes out. Why didn't somebody let her know that it was okay to just walk away? Like, just say, oh, okay, she won this award. Now she can go.
Ugh, good. Yeah.
It broke my heart.
Yes, that was a hard scene to watch. Later that night, so word gets around about the whales, and later that night, the rest of the village gathers to see all of them along the shore. Nanny walks up to Coro, and again, he asks, who is to blame? Throughout the night, the people are trying to save these poor whales by keeping them wet and applying, I think it was like wet blankets. Next morning, Pai wakes up, and we hear a voiceover of her saying, I called them, and they came, but it wasn't right. They were dying. She looks out the window to see everyone still there trying to save the whales. Coro sees a whale that is alone further down the shore. He approaches and does a chant in Maori. Coro tells Rawiri they need to turn it. Coro tells Rawiri they need to turn it around using a tractor. That if they can move it, the others will follow. Pai comes out and attempts to approach the whale. Coro tells her, he doesn't let her. He says, leave it, that she's done enough.
Rude.
Right? So freaking. Like, this man does not stop.
He doesn't deserve her love, honestly. Like, all she wants to do, she loves her grandpa so much.
No matter what he says to her, no matter how he treats her, this girl's devoted to this man. And it's so sad.
She just wants his love. She wants his love more than she wants her dad's love.
Right? I feel like she could care less about him. And
rude.
Right? Everyone begins trying to move this whale using the tractor, rope, and just physical force. But they're unsuccessful. Nani tells Coro they need to rest and that they'll come back later. As everyone is walking away, Pai approaches and greets the whale, like their traditional greeting that they do. Pai climbed onto the whale. She climbs onto the whale and literally just rides it back into the ocean. Rawiri notices the whale is gone, and Nani cries out, where is she?
Not only is that whale gone, all the whales are gone.
Yes. So at this point, like, when they're looking down the shore, they see, like, there's only a couple whales left. So some of them have already gone. She realizes that Pai is lost. As Pai is riding out, she looks back one last time and says, it's okay, Baka. She then submerges underwater. We hear a voiceover of her saying, I wasn't scared to die. Nani goes over to Coro to give him back his whale's tooth. And he has the audacity to ask which one, in which she responds, what do you mean, which one? Coro receives a house call. The family is at the hospital in the waiting room, and Nani's friend says that she's been praying to God and that if Pai wakes up, she's going to give up smoking. tiny little bit of lightheartedness there. Nanny says that she'd like that. Goro is at Pai's bedside, and he has placed his whale's tooth around her neck. In Maori, he says, "Wise leader, forgive me." Pai opens her eyes, and they share like a little moment of eye contact. It's a new day, and we see a beautifully decorated waka being pushed into the water with Borurungai at the front. The villagers are gathered and chanting in Maori. Nanny, Shiloh, and a very pregnant Anna are watching. Leading the chant as they sail off is Pai alongside Goro. A voiceover of Pai says, "My name is Paikia Apirana, and I come from a long line of chiefs, stretching all the way back to the whale rider. I'm not a prophet, but I know that our people will keep going forward all together with all of our strength." And that
I really did like how they did the ceremony, essentially, like the ceremony with the waka. So I thought that was really neat.
it was beautiful, very colorful. So that is the end of that. And then we've decided to add whether or not it passes the Bechdel test. And surprise, surprise, it does. So I have a feeling that every time we cover a film that is directed by a female, it's probably going to pass.
You would think that, but in a lot of like romantic comedies, they really don't.
How's it workable?
Because a lot of the times when two females are talking to each other, they're talking about whoever the love interest is.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that part. I set the bar so low. I thought it was just when two females talk to each other for like more than a few minutes or something.
So it's two female named characters have to have 2 lines of dialogue that is not about a man.
Oh my. Okay. Well,
this still does pass.
Well, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Just that smoking dialogue alone.
Yeah, so let's see. What else do we have? I was reading some random facts about it. Yes. So I think it was mentioned by Keisha, who plays Pai. Apparently, they filmed the whale scene, the whale riding scene, actually in the ocean. So apparently it took place 15 to 20 miles offshore. I'm sorry, like that would be terrifying. And that's what she says. It was completely terrifying.
I can only imagine.
Right?
Were those wild whales
that she was riding? It says the whales in the movie are a combination of footage of real whales, life-size models, is what I believe they were using. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then she was probably what the film probably showed us when she was going underwater and riding was probably the models then.
Yeah. For sure.
Gotcha. I was like, how did they train wild whales?
Can you imagine? Awful.
Working with any animal, I don't know if I'm pretty sure you know this as a dog owner. I know this as a cat owner. Working with any animals, you're susceptible to any act according to their wishes because they are their own entity and they have their own thoughts and feelings.
We think that we can control these animals, but it's like, exactly, they have their own thoughts. They're going to do whatever they want to do. They can be very unpredictable.
They can be, or they can just respond to what you're doing. Like, yes. I know that my cat will turn her around and kind of hiss at me if she's like, I'm done with you petting me now. It takes a while for me. I know for other people, not so much, but for me, it'll take a while.
That's so funny. I love, like, I've noticed, at least just with your cat, you know how like with dogs, they'll give you a warning when like they get upset or if they're done, they'll walk away or they'll start growling. But with your cat, like I'll be petting her. She'll be like snuggling up for cuddles. And then out of nowhere, she just bites.
And it depends on the bite itself. So sometimes if you stop touching her Like, she'll give you like a soft little like tap of a bite that's not really a bite. She's just using her teeth to say, hey, I want more. I want more. I know that doesn't make any sense. That's probably
Yeah,
uncomfortable for some people, but
I'm not around cats enough for that.
you're welcome anytime.
I'll stick with my dogs. Thank you.
I love your dog. They're very sweet, especially Arwen. Even though you claim that she doesn't like anybody, she loved me.
She's a brat. I'll call it what it is. She's a brat.
You know what it is? It's because I painted her. She knew that I was the one who painted her.
True, but you painted Scooby too.
I did paint Scooby, but he wasn't there when I dog sat, so.
That's true. He has his issues right now that I can't afford to address.
Oh, poor baby.
Oh, goodness. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I loved, like, during the movie recap, I think Nanny said it about 3 times that she threatened to divorce.
As soon as she was born. Yep. She's like, just say the word.
You say it.
Them. Yep.
You say the word and I will divorce him. Yeah. She said it about 3 times throughout the movie. She never did, but it was so funny every time.
Oh, yeah. Forgot to mention that cute little tidbit.
Right. Other than that, the real hero is Nanny. She's the only person who actually cares for Bai.
She did what she could in the situation.
This movie makes me so sad. Yeah. I think if I were to rate it, I would probably rate it like a 4, honestly, because it makes me so sad.
That makes sense. But like, I'm like, ignoring how it made you feel, what would you rate it?
It's not so much just that it made me sad. It's like the why it made me sad. It's because of how she was treated. And the fact that, like, it's all based about the fact that she was a boy and the way that her family treats her. And the fact that she's basically been told her entire life that she wasn't wanted, and she's being shown that she wasn't wanted, and she's being tossed around, not only from her father, but also from her grandparents. I was just very sad. And so I'm sure I love the representation of it. So I give it points for the representation. Another thing that I loved to see was in the location that he sets up the school for boys, the statues, they're actually sculptures. And when he's teaching the boys to stick out their tongues and do the warrior face, the statues have their tongues out in the warrior face as well. So it's very representative and it's very culturally significant.
Yes.
But as far as the storyline itself, it makes me very sad. I would rather watch Moana, honestly.
I don't. Oh gosh.
I know that's awful.
Yeah.
I appreciated seeing an insight into the culture, but still.
Yes. I understand how this is definitely a one and done movie for people. It's definitely possible to acknowledge that a film is good and powerful and be like, I never want to watch this again. I have that feeling towards a lot of movies. But again, this is just such a nostalgic movie for me. I saw it when I was, I was in elementary school for sure when I watched it. And it was a favorite of mine. But again, I must have just not understood what was going on. I'm like, this girl's badass. Maybe that was my thought the whole time.
I know when you told me, you were like, this is one of my favorite movies from when I was a girl. She's such a badass and stuff like that. And I'm watching this movie and I'm like,
this poor girl.
I texted you.
I know you messaged me. You're like, I'm just starting it. This movie is so sad. We're like, I probably should have prepared her better. But also, I hadn't seen it for such a long time. I don't know. Why did we decide to do this movie?
Why did we decide to do this movie?
Like, how did it come up?
You had a sudden inkling that you wanted to watch it. And so I was like, okay, let's do it.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Sounds about right.
Well, if you were to rate it, how would you rate it?
I would rate it an 8 out of 10. I know the storyline is infuriating and it's so sad. but I feel like it was still a really good movie, and it was beautiful. And yeah, that's my my childhood memories of it might be clouding my judgment right now.
All right.
Stick with
I
it.
will adjust. I will adjust. I will come up to a 5. I will come up to a 5 out of 10.
Let me
Predominantly for the cultural aspect. Like, I do love the cultural aspect of it. You know,
yes.
it's just the family aspect that makes me sad.
Yeah. I understand.
So hopefully that wasn't too depressing.
We do a wide range of films. It's not just all upbeat or horror.
I'm not sure if we've done an upbeat movie so far.
Done.
Oh, we did Jojo Rabbit.
We did Rabbit, but that was like,
does that count? It was about Nazis.
You managed to make it up.
This is true. This is true. So
yeah.
we do a wide range of movies, and we'll leave it at that.
Yep.
So if you stuck with us thus far, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Caffeinated Flicks. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can follow us on Instagram at caffeinatedflixpod, or you can email us at caffeinatedflix@gmail.com. Much like every other podcast, we'd love it if you could give us a review or a rating wherever you happen to listen, if that's a possibility. And more than anything, we'd love for you to tell a friend.
Yes. Alrighty, so we'll catch you on the flick side.